because an inclusive force is a more effective force.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, you know?
On Twitter in 2017, it took effect 2 years later. Let's bring in Texas Congressman Dan Crenshaw, who is also a former Navy SEAL. Congressman, it's always good to see you. I'd like your quick reaction, if I can, sir, to lifting the transgender military ban.
Sure. Well, the
Can't wait to hear this one.
On this, look, under Trump, transgender
Crenshaw's such a little
could serve
dirtbag.
Openly in the military. But what was not okay was to get taxpayer-funded reassignment surgery and all the medical issues associated with that. And that's a fairly reasonable policy to have.
That is not a fairly reasonable policy to have. Do you like dead soldiers and airmen? Dan Crenshaw. So, a lot of people think it's controversial that it should be held off. We don't want to be paying for their reassignment, yada, yada, yada. So, transgender people are people, unfortunately, right? And so it's annoying. But the thing is they are military members. A lot of those same people that hate transgender people, or, or just bathrooms and all that type of shit, probably are big pussy ass cowards and would not serve in the military themselves. So these trans people that are in the military, first off, already have a likely high, well, first off, they have one thing already going against them, which is in regards to like depression and suicide, and that's being in the military. Vets kill themselves very frequently. What is it? 22 in every minute veterans that kill themselves. Now, transgender people, I believe, probably even have even worse numbers. I got to look up the numbers on that. But trans people have serious issues with a lot of mental health issues and suicide risks because of society. Now, it has been scientifically proven that gender reassignment is life-saving. It's life-saving operation. It makes a large amount of people, a large percentage, and I can get these numbers and go over them another time, but it is overwhelmingly positive in the long term and in the short term for transgender people in regards to depression, and way less likely to kill themselves. So yeah, they should be paying.
Look, I think people should be able to serve openly and tell people what their identity is. I think that's fine. But I want to see Secretary Austin stick by what he said in his testimony, which is that we will adhere to the standards and anybody who can meet those standards should be able to serve. Okay, fine, I agree with that. But you also have to admit that a gender reassignment surgery will hurt our medical readiness. I mean, you can't even deploy if you're not vaccinated properly or you don't have the proper dental record.
There's technically some truth to this. However, there's just it's called being LLD or things like that, which is limited light duty. I was in the military. I know this. What he's getting at is partially correct, but that is also a bit of a ridiculous statement. There's people that are always staying home. There are married couples in the military that have to stay back and be with the kids. One of them has to. It's not necessarily this is very common. People don't understand how large the military is and how many people can't go because of like they broke an ankle this one time or something like that, or they sprained something. And secondly, majority of the military is not deployed. Majority of the military, Navy is a great example. Majority of the Navy is onshore, doing onshore shit in America. Very much the same with all the other military branches. There is a truth to this to an extent. He's conflating that. He's being hyperbolic.
Records in place. So how are we supposed to deploy people and keep our warfighting stance if somebody's just had gender reassignment surgery? And should taxpayers be paying for that? I mean, these are the questions that I want to hear for the administration. Are they going to stick to the standards that we all have to stick to?
And Congressman, I want to move on to the vaccine response now, because the new head of the CDC said this on Fox News Sunday yesterday, followed by Press Secretary Jen Psaki saying this, kind of pointing the finger at the Trump administration. Watch both.
One of the biggest problems right now is I can't tell you how much vaccine we have. And if I can't tell it to you, then I can't tell it to the governors and I can't tell it to the state health officials.
The confusion around this issue, which we acknowledge there is some confusion, speaks to a larger problem, which is what we're inheriting from the prior administration, which is much worse than we could have imagined.
Kind of pointing fingers at the Trump administration, you had CNN this week and kind of helping this along by saying there was no vaccine program in place, which clearly is not true. What do you make of
how's that clearly not true? I mean, does it look like there was one in place? Do you think that there would be? The guy who basically just stopped his job when he lost, the guy that was constantly on Twitter whining, like the guy was never doing shit. And Fauci isn't like still there. Pretty sure he's aware that there's not really a much of a vaccine plan there. Oh, this is so disingenuous.
Pointing the finger at Trump.
Yeah, I mean, she talked about being confused, and clearly she is confused, and maybe hopefully she's watching this program right now so I can help her with that confusion. So the truth is, and I think she knows this, that by the end of the Trump administration, the last few days, over 1 million doses a day were going out. 1 million doses of vaccine every single day. She claims it was an average of 500,000. Now she's trying to trick you with some statistics there. And then they claim that they're going to double that number and get up to 1 million, and then they're going to pat themselves on the back and claim victory. Of course, we're already over 1 million. We're already well on our way to getting 100 million doses in 100 days, which is what the Trump administration's plan was. And it's exactly the same plan that the Biden administration is now using. So they're trying to gaslight you. They're not telling the truth here. Look, there's always been a good plan in place. It's been increasing dramatically every single day. The kinks are getting worked out. It's tough to distribute hundreds of millions of vaccines, but it's getting done. If the Biden administration wants to impress us, you know what? Double the goal. Say 200 million vaccines in 100 days. I will be impressed. I'll go on the record right now, say that I will be impressed if you can do that.
And you talk about the math there, and what they did is they took the 36,000 vaccines administered and they just divided it by a certain number of days, making it seem like it was less than it was, when really the last several days of the Trump administration had in fact hit that 1 million mark. Your thoughts on the Keystone Pipeline? You know, you talk about jobs. Canada's been complaining about this, and the Keystone Pipeline pulling the plug on it. I want to play this soundbite, if I can, from the Alberta Premier, and then get your thoughts.
Keystone XL would have been a significant, safe, modern increase in that shipment, and it is it's very frustrating that one of the first acts of the new president was, I think, to disrespect America's closest friend and ally, Canada.
And I'm not sure if it's reactionary.
Doesn't Britain call us their closest friend and ally? I mean, I don't know which one's which, honestly, but I also don't care. It's fucking pipeline that went over a large group of Native Americans who both Canada and the US have been treating like fucking dog shit for their whole time being here and colonizing. I don't care. It's oil, dude. We're beyond it. We're moving past it. There's no clean fucking oil, no fucking clean coal. Just shut up. We're done. I don't care if it hurts your profits. Like,
but you look out
no one cares.
Gas is up like 40 cents a gallon over the past few days. Your thoughts?
For the past few days.
Let's be really clear about what this does. When you eliminate pipelines like this, you're increasing gas prices. So who does that hurt the most? It hurts our poorer communities the most. Guess what you're also doing? You're also increasing
public
carbon
transit.
emissions,
We should invest in that.
You still have to transport oil and gas. So now you have to transport it in, that's right, carbon emitting trucks and trains, as opposed to a clean pipeline. This Keystone Pipeline, by the way, was going to be zero net.
Yeah, we should tax that as well. We should tax all type of movement of oil. We should be doing less of it. So yeah, no, you're right. Dan Crenshaw, former Navy SEAL and traitor to his country. You're right. We should tax them at an exorbitant rate and not let them, make it so that they are less inclined to be transporting that oil, and then subsidized more fuel efficient ways of getting around, such as public transit, electronic vehicles that also don't pollute as much. Not just electronic vehicles. You got to produce them in a good way as well. But you're right, Dan Crenshaw. We are not radical enough. Thank you.
Operations. Okay, so this is terrible policy if you care about the environment, if you care about people's pocketbooks, if you care about the economy, because this is also costing tens of thousands of jobs. Right off the bat, you were losing jobs in Wisconsin, by the way. That story just broke as well. So, I don't know who this is supposed to help. I think it just helps the progressive woke talking points that they want to implement.
Not the wokists.
But it's not unifying. It's not good policy. It's bad for America.
Lastly, your take on some breaking news we got coming in here, because the California Governor Gavin Newsom is holding a news conference right now talking about lifting the stay-at-home order across California. He said this partially. Watch this.
I want to remind folks we're not out of the woods.
Awesome. Thanks for letting me know,
Everything that should
Andy.
be up is up. Everything that should be down.
There's also
down.
settings in there that you
But
can
here's
play
the
with.
problem. Over the weekend, Congressman, they would
It does
not
say that it
release
doesn't get
information
punctuation, but I
about
think it would be kind of
ICU
hard to do.
capacity because they thought it would confuse people and they'd take the wrong thing away from that. And now they suddenly have said, okay, now we're going to reopen California. It seems like there's more going on here when we have known for weeks and weeks and weeks that restaurants were not causing the spike in COVID cases. Your last thoughts?
It wasn't causing a spike.
It's partially. Watch this.
I want to remind folks we're not out of the woods. We're seeing a flattening of the curve. Everything that should be up is up. Everything that should be down is down.
But here's the problem. Over the weekend, Congressman, they would not release information about ICU capacity because they thought it would confuse people and they'd take the wrong thing away from that. And now they suddenly have said, okay, now we're going to reopen California. It seems like there's more going on here when we have known for weeks and weeks and weeks that restaurants were not causing.
How does he know weeks and weeks and weeks that they're not causing it? I highly doubt that. That's a very volatile area. Hold on. I don't know whether they know this.
The spike in COVID cases. Your last thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, welcome to the party, Gavin. Welcome to the party of science and data and common sense, where we know that lockdowns don't act.
This appeal to common sense is so annoying, and I'm so tired of it because there's no such thing, and it's a bullshit rhetoric term to appeal to literally nothing. It's literally just demagoguery saying appeal to common sense. You know, me appealing to you who voted for me. It literally means nothing. It's empty words. It's bullshit. I'm tired of it.
Actually work. And our
I don't know what
8
data
months of
they're
data
talking
now
about.
show
They're
there's
not
really
giving
no
any
correlation between flattening the curve and lockdowns. Okay, we could have done.
That's exceptionally wrong. We can tell. We have long-standing data on this. He's a retrograde. Sorry, I'm trying to stop using the R slur. But yeah, he's real fucking stupid is what that was.
This without harming your citizens in the worst ways possible. You know that they don't.
Not the economy.
In bars and restaurants, it's just not where it's happening. And yet you destroy people's livelihoods anyway. And now that Biden took office and you want the economy to recover, you know, lockdowns are bad.
Not the economy.
Again.
I'm going to use that as a soundbite later.
I'm glad they're bad again, according to Gavin Newsom. I'm glad that's happening. I really am. I am sick of getting desperate emails from people in California that want me to help them, and I can't. And it breaks
shut
my
up.
heart. But so I'm glad it's happening. But
No
don't
one
think we didn't
likes
notice
you
it in
that much,
Congress.
Dan
Don't think we didn't
Crenshaw. No
notice
one
that
thinks
you're
you're that
punishing your own
cool.
people